All right, folks, Vitek here from Wani with us today. We have a Whitechapel frontman, Phil. How you doing today, buddy?
Good. How about you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm sure you guys must be super stoked that an album coming out next month. You've been doing a lot of press lately. How's it been? So far.
It's been great. The response we're getting is very positive. I mean, with everything, there's going to be negatives too, but for the most part, it's a majority of it's positive.
Mark of the Blade, the previous album, was sort of a transitional phase. Let me say the next phase of Whitechapel in terms of the sound, the direction you guys were taking. It received a lot of love. Everybody knows it, but it took a lot of courage for you guys to actually experiment and explore the different side, and it did well. But at the same time, it sort of builds an expectation from what the next record will sound like and the sort of expectation from the fans, from the media, and obviously from yourself as a band. How has this whole thing been while creating the Valley?
It's been it was well, our last album, Mark of the Blade, was in pretty much all of our opinions our most I would say weakest work.
Mm-hmm.
Just because just the inner we had some inner turmoil with the band and everything, and I feel like it reflected on that album. But since changes have been made, and we've moved on and everything, this album definitely came out exactly how we wanted it to. It it was just a really great experience,
Mm-hmm.
compared to the last album, and just going in this direction, and trying to do new things, and not just try to explore different things for us, because it's for us, we just wanted to create a different sound, and see how it worked, and
Right.
we want to keep like our roots, obviously, but we also want to venture out and see what else is out there, as far as like musical creativity, because with art in general, whether it's architecture, music, artists like drawing, or anything like that, there's no rules, there's no certain thing that you have to do. You just do what you feel and do what you want to do, and
Right.
that's what and another thing too is, like, we want people to listen to music and not focus on who's making it. Just like the song for if you like it, and if you don't, you don't. Like, don't just close your eyes, listen to the song. In a perfect world, that's how it would be.
Mm-hmm.
You would just listen to a song, no one would tell you who it is, who made it, and
Right,
you would either
right.
like it or you don't, and you move on.
Right.
It's and if they heard a song and they liked it, and then they found out who it was afterwards, and then they ended up not liking it because of who made it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, are you really listening to the music for what it is?
Right.
Like, just
True.
like it for what it is. And it should end there.
The album has this great balance of experimentation and at the same time not forgetting the roots of White. If I have to give an example, the classic White people sound like Brimstone or even Black Bear or We Are the Ones have that traditional sound. But then on the other side, you have tracks like Hurt Depth or say When Demon Defiles the Witch or even Hickory Creek, which have this whole atmospheric vibe that goes on throughout the songs. Was that a challenge to not overdo both?
Not really. We don't ever really say like, oh, we can't do too much, because it's just not what we are. Like, it's just not what we need to do, or what we shouldn't do, or whatever. We just do what we want, and think that if we like it, then we should release it. Because you should always be proud of what you make.
Right.
No matter what anyone else thinks. But at the same time, we want to give fans what they want. But at the same time, it's about us too. It's not, because if we were writing music for the fans and not ourselves, then we're not creating true art. So
Absolutely, yeah.
we want to, and the fact that we're able to make a career out of it is, a blessing for us. So, but if it ends, because no one likes it anymore, then that's just life. That's how it works.
Right.
But we're just going to continue. The next record might not have any singing on it, but we'll just have to wait and see. It just depends on what we want to create and how we're feeling at the moment.
Right. That's really great, man. I want to talk about, this record is obviously personal to you. We know about that. I've come across press release where I read about that, and when I got the album, I started listening to it, and each and every word that you're singing has a lot of personal. Obviously, it's your story. And then I felt the music did justice to the whole lyrical essence of the album. I mean, it's important that both the music and the words complement each other and create, an album like this needs a lot of attention to detail because, it's a very personal topic, a very sensitive topic. So, did this take a lot of time for the band to write an album like this because, it's about you and then the music has to do justice as well?
I mean, a lot of the music was written, between the three guitar players over the span of, 6 months or so. But I mean, some of the music that's in there is stuff that was written, years ago.
I see.
Just never got used, and then it came back, and it fit in a certain song. But as far as it being like necessarily like. Were you saying like a challenging thing to do?
Yeah.
I mean, any sort of change is something that you have to do. It's something that you're not used to. You have to ease into it because you don't want to just completely alienate all your fans and everything.
Right.
And you don't want to just go into it, full force because you make a lot of mistakes. You just want to ease into it. It's just like trying something new. You just want to dabble a little bit, and then as you get more experience with it, you can go full force with it. So we're just taking it, an album at a time, I guess you could say.
Awesome, man. If I have to choose a song that reflects the album's overall, how do I say, the vibe on a personal note, it's Hickory's Creek. I mean, I've been listening to that whole chorus part. This path I walk is comforting, but now I'm left to sing this song alone. I'm fading faster. And there's a part of the song where you say, "For what it's worth, you're beautiful." And I know what you're, pointing about. What about you for this song, or say the album in general, when it comes to what is more personal to you?
Definitely, probably. I mean, it's hard to say which one's the most personal because they all are.
Obviously, yeah.
As far as I guess you could say like moods, which one's like? I mean, that's all I can really go on is like the mood of the song. Definitely the most like sad would definitely be Hickory Creek,
right?
Musically and lyrically. But every song. It's really hard to say which one hits the hardest because it's all like tied into itself, So, but I would say, Hickory Creek is definitely like a more like sad and like despair, kind of. It has a lot of, just a lot of sadness to it.
Right.
So,
Right, that's really good. And your vocals, man, I mean, it's amazing. I loved the effort that went into Mark of the Blade. And obviously, when we are so used to the sound of Whitechapel and obviously your amazing vocals, and then you throw in the clean vocals, really well placed, well thought out. And then it left me wondering what would the next step be for you when the next Whitechapel album comes. And then you guys announced Valley and Brimstone, the single came out. No clean vocals there. So it was a little bit of thought process for me that I really didn't want you to let it go because you really did it well. And then on this album, you have Third Depth where you have some clean. Hickory is like a complete clean vocal song. And then there's also a clean section and When Demon Defile. Wonderfully placed and a lot of effort. I can clearly see that. If I have to give you an example, Third Depth would be probably the best one where there is a amazing transition in the middle of the song from the clean to growls. that clearly shows the effort that went behind. I wanted to ask you, what was this whole like to maintain two sides of Phil Bozeman?
Yeah, I mean, since we did it on the last album, it was a lot more of a comfortable process going into it because I'd never really actually sang on a professional recording until Mark of the Blade, and once we did that, going into the Valley, it was a lot more comfortable because I'm so used to like doing screaming stuff. That's like second nature to me now.
Right.
So going into it on this one was definitely a lot more comfortable, a lot easier for me because I knew what to expect. I knew how it worked and all that stuff. Because like I said, I never sang on a professional recording until Mark of the Blade. So
right.
It was more of a natural feel on this album compared to last album. I mean, it felt right on the last album, but it was a lot easier on this one.
Exactly. That's really great. What are the plans in terms of taking this album on road? I mean, Flexible does a lot of touring, which is amazing, and you guys, travel to Europe, do shows in states as well. Is there anything planned so far for the Valley?
Yeah, I mean, we do have stuff planned as far as tours go. As far as a tour that supports the Valley, that hasn't really been put together or announced yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we do have the Chaos and Carnage tour in America coming up, but that's more of like a hardcore, like more of like a metal kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, I mean, we're probably gonna play more of like the heavier stuff off the album on that tour.
Okay.
So until like we do like an actual like Valley tour to like support the album, we'll just probably try to incorporate like the heavier songs and then go from there.
Great. That's awesome, man. I mean, I look forward to see you guys live. Phil, you've been you've Whitechapel has been there since the beginning, has been like an example of how the deathcore music has been, and then obviously you explored. Everybody wants to experiment, and you guys are really killing it now. Where do you think that this whole discussion with the deathcore stands currently? With say you guys or Die Hard is Murder, and many other bands tend to explore and do many other things. What's your take on this genre now as compared to say 10 years ago?
It's definitely evolved. You still have like the bands that kind of still have like that mid 2000, early 2000 sound.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever this whole genre started to kind of come into play.
Right.
But it's just over the past 10 years. I mean, it's definitely evolved into a more mature and just a more diverse kind of sound. It's basically taken death metal to new heights. It's opened up a lot of doors for future artists, and it's crazy. I never thought it would get to where it is now, but it's just getting better, and it's just getting more attention now. So that's great.
Great, and awesome. Phil, if I have to ask you to say sum up the Valley in a sentence, what would you say?
A sentence to describe the Valley: get ready to feel every emotion you've ever had.
Perfect, man. Very well said. Buddy, good luck with the release, man. I really wish this album just goes to the wider audience, brings in more fans for Whitechapel. This is very hardworking album, as you guys always do. A lot of respect to you guys for that. And I can't wait to hear this live on stage and see, how well it crushes.
All right. Well, yeah. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Take care of yourself, and I'll see you on road soon.